Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
I feel like I should be putting some sound effects in there with that.
This is like one of the,
Like a cymbal.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, we just listened to the music that Peter made, all right, in the beginning of the podcast. Well, not on Facebook. We didn't listen to it there.
Uh-huh.
But on the podcast, you made the hot rock star music, right?
Sure.
Awesome.
I never hear it, though, because we don't have it going on in the studio here.
Right,
I never hear it.
Exactly. Every once in a while, I go back and listen to them, but every once in a while, I think we should do it again. Make another cut of it.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
This time we put Naomi in there.
Oh, we can have lyrics.
Yeah.
Have
Lyrics.
Yeah. Just, check the music and then see if you got, like, maybe a couple of, like, a punchline here and there.
I love lyrics.
Just a riff. You know?
Get a good hook.
Like a 3-word hook.
Is that a riff?
Yeah, well, hook is like the part of the song that you just remember, that little piece that just stands out.
Oh.
I can't
Is
get
that-
no.
Satisfaction.
See?
This phone.
Episode number 93, Peter.
All right.
And the name of the episode is Have You Got These Symptoms of Nerve Exhaustion from Real Estate Investing?
Symptoms.
Yeah, have you got these symptoms of nerve exhaustion from real estate investing?
Yeah, it can be, huh?
And Emma said I wrote a novel today for the description. So here it is. This is what we put in the Facebook group. If you're listening to the podcast, you can go watch us on Facebook, because when we record it, we record a live stream. We do a live stream every Thursday morning. It's supposed to be at 9:30 this morning. We are late. Why are we late this morning? Because we were out partying last night, because it's Naomi's birthday 2 days ago.
It was.
So we were out celebrating. She's officially started with a 3 now. Oh, no, wait a minute. That's been a few years.
Just a couple of years. It's getting pretty close to a 4.
Number starting.
Pretty close to a 4, she said.
Real close.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're negotiating now.
Yeah. So we were
Can
at
we-
the seminar yesterday.
Yeah,
Are we
do an option?
negotiating?
Can we do an option on that?
We can do an option on
Can
that.
we stay in the 3 a little bit longer?
Actually, I'm still in the 10. So.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
we did a seminar last night, and
And Bill comes up to me and he says, "All right, have I ever given you an order?
a direct order.
A direct order?" I said, "No." And I'm thinking he wants me to go out and check on some house out in Plainville or God knows what. He says, "Okay, we're going to buy you a drink."
No, we're leaving the seminar, and we're going to the bar up the street, and I'm buying you a drink, and I am not taking no for an answer.
That was it. That was the offer. So I said, "Okay."
And she starts babbling on about how she has work to do before the podcast tomorrow, and I better hurry up and get the seminar done, she said, because she's got to do work. How did that go over, Peter?
What work?
Yeah. Well, we were cleaning up.
No, my work.
her
My
work.
work.
She had work to do.
Yeah.
How did that go over? What she doesn't realize is, what's the old saying, right? I have 2 wives, and they were both bossy.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 sisters that are even bossier than my wives, right? I mean, my sister's like always telling me what to do, and I got 2 daughters that are much politer,
They still tell you what to do, though.
but they still tell me what to do.
Yeah. It's just funny thinking you being pushed around. You're just too big to be pushed around. And yet.
Well, nevertheless, I said, "Well, listen, if you're going to give me an ultimatum, I'm going to give you an ultimatum. We got to get cracking. We got to go."
And how'd that work?
I think it did speed up.
You
He
can
was
think.
in the middle
yeah.
of his conversation with this guy, and
Yeah, they don't
like
want to talk
that
to me.
ended really quick.
Anyway, so we went out and had a good time.
Yes.
So
The end.
I don't think that was the reason why we were late this morning. It just happened to be that way.
That was my reason.
It was your reason.
I woke up and I'm like,
I woke up at 8.
"Woo."
I don't live anywhere near here.
And Naomi the room was still spinning for Naomi.
Yeah.
All right, so anyways, so we usually start at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can go on Facebook, Flipping Houses For Rookies is what you type in Facebook. If you go to Facebook, just type in Flipping Houses for Rookie. And once you find our feed, you'll see a bunch of videos on the feed. But you can also go over to the link on the left that says video, and they are all there. And they're in order. We number them, just like we do on the podcast. So if you're listening to the podcast and you want to check us out live, you can go to Facebook and do that. So in the Facebook feed I wrote this morning, or Emma wrote, after I wrote it on paper, so the title is, Have You Got the Symptoms of Nerve Exhaustion from Real Estate Investing? And here we are, the description. Have you ever said, I can't seem to get started in real estate investing? That's what we heard last night, right?
Yeah. 1980,
Yeah.
2002.
And they haven't bought a house yet.
Huh?
Yeah.
That was mine.
Well, I was with the 1980 guy. I was going to say, did you go to this workshop, that one? Because
Yeah.
I was there too.
Right.
That's why I called you.
All right. So have you ever said, I can't seem to get started in real estate investing? Or you learn one way to do real estate investing only to find out there are 5 other ways to make money simpler. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Possibly you did one deal and said, I got it, and then can't seem to do another. Maybe you have spent thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours trying to learn and have not got a return on your effort, only to realize you're almost as confused as when you started. How am I doing?
Well, I mean, talking to people last night,
That sounds like a lot of.
they were still confused.
Even after spending. How much did that one lady spend? 80,000?
Something like that.
100,000?
Yeah,
Oh,
something like that.
jeez.
Like, it was a college education, and she was. I'm like,
She hadn't bought a house.
oh Lord.
Oh, man.
Oh.
So listen to this podcast and become twice the real estate investor you thought you could be, with a fraction of the effort you thought you ever dreamed of.
Yep.
Should I read it again, or are we good?
No, we're good. I want to hear. How
How
it
we're gonna
unfolds.
lay it out.
how this unfolds.
How's this cookie crumble?
It's called improv. So you start.
Call.
If you're worried about it, I'm going to give you the problem.
No, it's easy. Call Bill.
No.
No, but I did that when I was.
Okay,
it was-
I'll do it. You clearly cannot.
What do you mean? I was talking. I was talking.
Take the
You were
floor,
giving
Naomi.
excuses.
Wait a minute.
Take the floor,
You-
Naomi.
I'll do the 1980 one. You do the 2002 because I did start somewhere around 1980, going to a workshop once a month. Some senator, political guy who's also a lawyer or a realtor, he would give these free seminars, and I don't know what he got out of it because they never sold anything. So I don't know what he was doing.
So
Okay.
here's the answer. The answer for 1980 or 2002 or any time frame.
Yeah.
You just do it. I can tell you about my first deal, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
I've not
I've
heard
never
this
even
story.
told you about this.
I want to hear this
Oh,
story.
I'm in. Go ahead.
Speak, woman. You have the floor.
All right. So, as you know, I ran a law office for a few years with no experience, mind you.
You ran what?
A law
A
office.
law office. Okay.
No experience. Literally one day I was not even a paralegal or anything. The next day I'm running a law office. But anyway, that was a fun adventure. And so I came across this house, and it was kind of fine. And anyway, so this house, it was actually in foreclosure. So the owner had walked away, but for it to be just vacant, it couldn't be vacant. Like, it's bad for a vacant house to be in a neighborhood. You know, vagrants could move in, or animals, or, you know, things aren't winterized properly. And yeah, the bank might winterize it, but it's just bad to have this vacant house just sitting there. So what I did is I checked with several attorneys on this to make sure that I wasn't violating any laws, and of course, you know, checked with the owner and everything. And I said, well, you know what, I'll just rent it out. And so while he's like, okay. And so while he was duking it out with the bank, I was keeping it full, and it was like $2,200 cash flow every month. How's that?
I have a friend
wait
that
a
has
minute.
2 houses in Florida. He's doing that. Matter of fact, I just said to my wife the other day, he's been doing it, I think, 9 or 10 years. He's fighting the bank in a foreclosure process
Mm-hmm.
in court and renting the property out.
And not paying them any of the money.
Right.
Because they won't accept
They
it.
won't accept
you
it.
mail a payment to them, they will mail it right back.
Oh, that's awesome because
So-
they're foreclosing. We want the
Right.
house, so nothing happens. But you rent the house out.
Right.
That's
Right.
crazy.
So can you imagine how many people
I don't
would
know
take
this
that,
strategy.
Can you imagine how many people would take that same situation and be like, oh gosh, well, I don't know. It sounds a little scary. Is that even ethical? They would find 101 different excuses, and you just
Why you can't do it?
right, and you just do it.
Yep.
You just, I mean, obviously, I checked with the attorneys and made sure it was legal, but I was providing a service to the neighborhood. I was providing a service.
Well, hang on a second. It
is.
Let's, I gotta say this right. Did you get that? We're back to aliens again. It wasn't that it was legal. It wasn't that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't illegal. So it was more that it wasn't illegal than it was that it was legal. Correct?
I think that it is absolutely 100% legal because while the owner is even in the midst of foreclosure, that deed is still in the owner's
That's
name.
right.
And the owner takes full responsibility of it.
That's right.
And if they're just letting it sit there vacant and degrading and goodness knows what happens, it's on their name. It's much better to have some good tenants in there that are
Right.
taking care of the property. And that's what happened.
Well, usually people are in their house when it's being foreclosed. They're stuck in it.
Right. But
So once in a while,
some
it's
people,
vacant.
As soon as the
absentee
process happens, some people just get scared and they move out and walk away. And
Huh.
that's what happened in this situation.
And you rented it. Did you keep all the money?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want any of it?
No. I just walked away.
Why wouldn't? That's the funny part. I'd say, sure, rent it. Give me some money.
So she made $25,000 that year, just like being clever.
Yeah, on somebody else's house.
And somebody
Oh,
else's money.
jeez.
You dog.
I mean, all they would have to do is put a tenant in that case. Themselves. They could have done it themselves.
Yeah.
Walk away, put a tenant
He
in it.
moved away. He was out of state. He's like,
Yep.
you know what? I don't care. Just
Good job, Naomi.
Yeah.
thank you.
Were you scared? Were you nervous?
Impressive.
You know what? I was. But you know what? You move forward anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like, okay, the attorneys tell me this is okay. And I remember when the bank finally took it, they called me and they're like, yeah, are you the property manager? I'm
Oh.
like, yeah. They're like, can we have the lease? And I'm like, no.
Did you have? You didn't have a lease?
No, I had one. So so anyway, never mind. I worked with the attorneys on this and I was like kind of slick. But
Slick dog. She's not just you dog. She's a slick dog.
but at any rate, it's
But everything worked out. You never
everything
got in
worked
trouble.
out beautifully, and it worked out also very well for the tenants because they had this beautiful house. They made it so nice, and then when they did finally have to move, the bank gave them some money to move.
The bank gave them money to
Yeah.
move.
Yeah, my sister did that. We
Yeah.
structured a deal. She was in foreclosure, and I structured the deal for her. She was good because I said to her, I'll help you, but you need to do exactly what I tell you. If I tell you these 4 words, you need to say them the same way I say them. All the inflection, all the emotion, exactly the way I say them, and I will help you. And she got $35,000 back. Fortunately, they only got
from the bank?
$4,000 at the closing, yeah. Because
Now,
she
did
had
she have
30.
equity?
No.
Did-
No, they actually did a short sale. And they gave her $35,000 back.
That is so rare, Bill.
Yeah, it's not as rare as you think.
Interesting.
Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because the way they were handling her.
Yeah.
What I realized is that back in the 2000s,
Yeah.
like 2002 to 2008, if you could fog a mirror, you got a loan.
Right.
So there were so many mortgages that the mortgage houses
Yeah.
were actually using third-party vendors,
Yeah.
and they botched it. They were like
They botched
faking
up.
signatures, and
Oh my gosh.
so if the bank feels like they don't have substantial documents to withhold the court,
Yeah.
then they'll dilly-dally around and they'll do whatever. And I think that her
Yeah.
house was one of those.
Almost
loans?
all of them are.
Yeah.
I worked, kind of still do, work with an attorney that his line after the market crash, all he does is sue banks.
Yeah.
And all of the big banks, we have not come across a mortgage yet where they have not done severe illegal things.
Yeah.
The small credit unions, those people seem to be
Yeah.
pretty much okay, but the big banks, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, so exactly what you're saying. So it flips the tables. They have to settle with you.
Yeah. So that's what. And once I kind of caught a scent of that,
Yeah.
it's kind of like I was on a trail and didn't know what trail I was.
Yeah.
Just trying to help her. And then as soon as I picked up on that scent, which was early on for whatever
Mhm.
reason, well, not for whatever reason, just because of my experience,
Right.
I flipped the fence just like you said, and we negotiated, and they gave her $34,000. And
That-
ironically enough, she only got $4,000 at the closing because they owed so much money everywhere
Right. Right.
that they didn't get the money because they all their debt, but all their debt was gone.
Right.
And for her, I mean, she only made $30,000 a year.
Right.
So $35,000 worth of, or $31,000
wow.
worth of debt was like huge.
Wow.
So they moved. They even got enough money for a U-Haul
Mm-hmm.
and rented a house in Florida. They went to Florida and with a brand new clean slate, and they've been there 5 years or so, and they are doing wonderful. They live a great life because of it. If that hadn't happened, she
Yeah.
would not be living the way she is now.
Wow.
She was all stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
Collectors calling her all the time, blah, blah, blah. But they learned a lesson from it and didn't go back in debt.
Yeah.
That they realized it was a gift from God.
Yeah.
You know?
That is incredibly clever. You have no idea how clever that was that you did. You know how many attorneys and
Well, then I
people
should
that-
I should tell you the rest of the story then,
you can. Yeah.
because she actually a year before, without telling me, and I'm not, I don't want to talk about the rest of this because she had some illnesses because of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was about a year and a half before,
Mm-hmm.
actually let the house go into foreclosure. They did a strict foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
She signed the deed, like a deed in lieu of,
Right. Right. Yeah.
and hadn't told her husband. Right?
Was he on the deed?
No, she.
I didn't think so for her to,
I don't know. I never asked that question. But listen to this.
Oh my gosh.
This deed was passed, and when I found out what was going on, because I was in the hospital, she was in the hospital, and I went there, and I'm like, "What's going on?" Like I shut the door, like because I'm her big brother, and she told me everything. There was a lot more involved to it, but she
Right.
told me everything. And I left the room, got on my phone, and 2 days later, she got the house back with a payment program. They were in the eviction process. In the eviction process, we set up a payment program. I got her the house back literally in 2 days.
What year was that in? Can I ask?
Yeah, it was like 5 years ago.
That is amazing.
2012,
Can I ask
13.
what bank that was with?
I don't remember the name of the bank.
A big bank?
Oh yeah, Nationwide Bank.
Wow.
She gets out of the payment, right? Why we're spending so much time on this? When she gets out of she gets out of the foreclosure, makes the payment.
Yeah.
A year later, defaults on the payment again,
Yeah.
and then she defaults, and that's when I got her the $35,000.
All right.
Okay. So we went off on a total tangent there.
There
but
are so many attorneys out there
Yeah.
that specialize in this type of work and that could not have even scratched the surface of what you just did.
that's because I've been in the middle of it.
I know.
I've had it happen to me.
I know.
So let's talk about this. These symptoms of nerve exhaustion. So how about this one? You have a spouse or a significant other, and you keep going to real estate seminars, and you keep buying shit, $2,000, $3,000. You got, I don't know, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in.
Bill.
Well, I've got about 60 at this point. But this happened to me, of
Yeah.
course. That's why you're saying that, I think.
I've heard it.
and your spouse is like, we're spending this money, we're not getting anything back. Or your significant other. It's like, you keep doing this, and they're trying to like wake you up, like you're in this coma, or like you're on ether.
Mm-hmm.
And
The ship is sinking.
yeah. So we need to like stop doing this. You know, like you said, the ship is sinking, and instead of jumping, they know they can't jump, right? Because the oceans is more fierce than the sinking ship.
And there's gold somewhere on that ship someplace.
Yeah.
They can't find the right cargo hold, but they know they're riding something to somewhere.
I think gold would not be the concern on a sinking ship.
Right.
I think it would be a flotation.
The point is that that's how a lot of investors are. You know, they're like, they keep putting money in, and they go to these seminars, and they actually do things. They do things.
Mm-hmm.
They leave the seminars, and they actually like do things.
Mm-hmm.
Except buy a house
Yeah, we heard it last night.
or do a deal.
Yeah.
I heard it last night.
Yeah.
I did this, I did that, I didn't get the offer taken. They did this, I did that, didn't get the offer.
I feel like they do things, but not everything. Like they do maybe.
Well, that's the point is that they don't do the right things.
Right.
Right? I mean, I give you a classic example. So we did our meetup last night, and what Peter's talking about is we had, I don't even know how many people, 20-something people there, I think.
Mhm.
I don't know how many people
It was
there.
20.
Yeah.
And I went around the room and asked people what they thought investing meant to them. And probably 2/3 of the room talked about getting started and how it's confusing, and there's so many different parts of the industry that they just don't know where to get started.
Yeah. That's
Right?
true. That's what they said.
So obviously I went over, it just happened that was complete coincidence that it happened, because I was going over the how to get started checklist, right? That we haven't released yet. We just created it.
Yep.
So the thing is that, like I said here, there's so many different ways to do it. I mean, let's list some of them, okay? So obviously we do lease options, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You have taking over the deed, subject to. You have wholesaling. You have like apartment owning, like rentals,
Right.
right? What else?
Well, the rehabs.
Rehabs,
Mhm.
right? Tax liens.
Yeah.
Buying on tax liens.
Yeah. I bought that whole system and
Yeah.
got to the very end and like, I don't know if I have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 to pay for one of these if
Right.
it actually happened.
Right.
But I was
Some
going
of
down
them
that
are very
road.
small, like $600. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, can be.
Then there's foreclosure, right?
Yeah.
Buying from foreclosure.
Yep.
There's REOs, which is real estate owned from a bank,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because so there's pre-foreclosure and then post-foreclosure, right? I mean, there's just a lot of ways to buy property,
Yep.
and each one of them have their own nuances and their own things to do,
Sure.
right? So here you are, you're spending. So you go to maybe a real estate investment meeting, you know, like a RIA. I'm not talking about our thing as a meetup. It's a little bit different because it's always me talking. There's no speaker or nothing like that. I mean, we're doing a seminar this weekend, April 21st. So we were selling that, which we don't, I mean, the meetups don't really sell a lot of those anyways. Other than that, I don't sell. So I'll go now. We'll go all summer. I won't. I mean, it's just a free meeting.
Yep.
Which you can find if you go to meetup.com and just type in Flipping Houses for Rookies. You can get information. We probably have about 750 members in there. They're not all active, obviously, but
Yep.
That's how you can get that information. Anyway, so that's one symptom, right? Like you spend all this time, all this money, right? So you go to the real estate meeting, the speaker stands up there, you know, and he which we talked about this the other day. Peter and I talked about this the other day. He actually creates this mystery, right? So he stands up front and he poses this wonderful mystery. And then he says, I can show you the magic potion for this mystery if you just give me 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, all that kind of stuff, right? I like to think why I'm different is because I like to show you what you're going to get before you even consider it. So like the course that we're working on now, or the course that I've just released about a month ago, is how to buy real estate without a loan. If you go on to Flipping Houses for Rookies / buy without a loan, there's a video there. So that's / buy without a loan. There's a video there. I take you behind the course and show you what you're going to get and how it works. And then if you decide you want to do it, then you buy it. If you don't, then you don't have to. But you see what you get before you buy it. So if the industry, and the reason why I'm talking about that is if the industry is full of that, then how are you going to get an education?
You don't. I mean, you do, but you don't.
Well, it seems to be like
they leave out holes here and there.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I have just a corollary. I have music students that come to me that have been trying for a year or years, YouTube videos, a book here, a thing there, this and that, the other, and they have pieces of it, but I call it Swiss cheese because they have holes everywhere.
Right.
And if you have holes in a map or in a book or in a story, you can't understand what it says.
Right.
It's like a puzzle with missing letters all over the place. You can't understand how
But
it flows.
I think when you just do it, when you just make up in your mind, I'm going to do this, and then you hit on one of those holes, then you search with a focus of, okay, how do I get over this particular thing? And you figure it out because that's your streamlined focus. You know, you start calling around and asking this person because you hit this one hole.
Yeah.
And then you figure it out. And some people, they have the Swiss cheese and they don't even move forward because they see the hole here, the hole there, the hole there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they want to make sure it's cheddar cheese before they
even start.
Right.
Well, that's true because we've talked about this occasionally. Bill helped me a tremendous amount years ago, a year or more, with the attitude like you want to be a professional at this. You don't want to look like an amateur.
Right.
But how do you can't. And even a professional doesn't have every answer. So the
That's
trick is
true.
simply this. As you move forward, if you don't know something, you tell the person, like, I'm not
Yes.
sure how that works. I'll get right back to
Yes,
you. You don't make
exactly.
believe or fake it that you think you
Right.
know everything.
Right.
Because nobody does.
Right.
You'll figure it out. But on the other hand, why not have like a nice simple roadmap instead of a globe?
Exactly.
A globe.
Yeah.
You know, people have a globe
Exactly.
and they spin it. they
But
don't know where to
I
go.
think sometimes even when people have the nice simple roadmap, their mind creates what ifs.
Oh, they
that
will.
creates the Swiss cheese effect.
They will. But at least, like the course goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Right.
7 in actual sequence, which was my problem when I wanted to start because I'm an educator.
Right.
And I don't like stuff that's just poorly put together. I'll open some music books or just a book on something, instruction manual, and you're like, where the heck? What do you mean? It's just not in sequence even.
Yeah, no, I understand that
Page
as well.
12 has the answer to that. Page 5 has the answer to that. I'm on page 1. Tell me now. Tell me just 1, 2,
Right.
3, 4. So
Yeah.
at least there's a simple, organized, step-by-step system to get going.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about false data.
False data.
False data. So I wrote down in my notebook. I just pulled it out of my pocket while you guys were talking. So
We were covering for you.
yeah. The definition of false data is this. And ironically, Peter, not picking on you, but this is my biggest problem with you, is you have false data and you don't even know you have it. So when I'm trying to like teach you how to do things, you're like doing other things because you don't believe me. You're much better at it recently because we're doing deals. And it's not just you. I mean, I'm saying that because you're sitting here, right? But some people have the ability to like, oh, that's not right. I should do something else and make their mind up quickly. Some people are more stubborn about the information they have about being right. Okay, so it's not a derogatory thing when I say that, but one of the barriers I had with you when we were doing all this is false data. So let me give you the definition of false data because this is what most people, this is the core of their problem. This is the core of their problem, okay? So definition of false data is incorrect ideas, information, laws, definitions, etc., that a person believes to be true, preventing him from, you can turn the page, understanding a subject or performing the required functions of an activity correctly. So the definition of false data is incorrect ideas, information, laws, definitions, etc., that a person believes to be true, preventing him from understanding a subject or performing the required functions of an activity correctly.
Can you expand on that? How people get the false data?
Well, first thing that happens is the guy that's selling the $1,000 course may have false data himself.
So it's passed along from somebody with just mistaken ideas.
Right. So let's just take a society in general. Say our society.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ours meaning the three of us here, because you could go to, we can go from New Haven County to Hartford. To Fairfield County, which is a half an hour ride, and you have a whole different society.
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking New Haven County, Connecticut.
So we're talking about just like right here.
Oh, I see my problem. I'm in Hartford County. We're different up here.
That
I
might
lost my
have
train of
something to
thought.
do with it. So society and false data can sometimes happen because of society.
Right. So
Because a person giving $1,000 course, I mean,
well, let's just do it this way. Let's go primal. Okay. From the beginning of time, how did people learn how to do things?
watching others.
Or telling stories. So like
Yes.
your grandmother would tell the daughter, and the daughter would tell their daughter, and their daughter would tell their daughter, and their daughter would tell their daughter, and it becomes tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So how much of that story gets translated because someone had an idea, right? Or information, and then I tell you, here's my idea or my information. You don't completely duplicate it the way that I have it. You make a little twist to it, get a different result, and then pass it on to Naomi.
Right.
Right? So what happens is as far as I'm concerned, observation is out. So for some for God's sake and reason, people don't pay attention to results. Just because they don't qualify their information. I'll give you a classic example. I want to hire a realtor.
Right.
How do most people hire realtors?
They set an appointment. They talk to them.
How do they find them?
Ask
The realtors find them.
Sometimes.
Usually.
Most of the cases that I find, that is very true, right? But most of the time it's like we were in the house the other day.
It's their friends.
Yeah, he's like, oh, well, the guy around the corner, they're a realtor, and I felt obligated because I talk to him all the time.
Yes.
Or my mother knew somebody, or I go to a meetup and there's a realtor there, or, right? So it's not any like investigation. Now,
Right.
take that same person and say to them, oh, I have a stock that you can buy.
Oh,
It's $1,000 stock, and you can buy it for $20. What would happen?
They'll probably still bring out the magnifying glass.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yet this house is probably the biggest asset that they have in most cases,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't do any homework.
Right.
They just, I know somebody, and they're really nice, as if being nice.
Is going to make them a good realtor.
Right. So most realtors sell 2 or 3 houses, 5 houses. A good realtor sells 12 a year, considered in our society.
Right. One a
Right.
month.
So that's a classic example of what I'm talking about. Now let's take I can't believe I'm going to do this, but let's take the Holy Bible. Right? So those stories and parables, which by the way, a parable is a story that teaches a lesson, right? How long has the Bible been around? few thousand years.
Thousands.
Right? Now it's been altered and changed a few times, but it's not done easily. So when the person told those stories and wrote them down, right?
Yeah.
They lasted longer. And they didn't get altered as easily or as much
When they wrote them, because they wrote them.
because it was written and not verbal.
Yeah.
So you're saying, your question was, how do people get false data? Well, it's verbal data, first of all.
Right.
And second of all, people don't qualify the information. And third of all, by the time you get around to it, like I spent all this money on this course and on that course and on this course and on that course, right? What did it give you? What did it get you? Now, it is possible, and for me, it was possible that some of the courses taught me what not to do. Okay?
How?
Because I would try it and it wouldn't work.
Okay. You don't experience.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
So, qualifying who does what, or qualifying where the information comes from, and the statistics will help you on whether it's good information or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Then there's your own crap. Like if I say, Peter, 2 + 2 = 4, I can demonstrate that to you 5,000 different ways, probably. Right? And sooner or later, you're going to have to realize that 2 + 2 = 4. But if you think 2 + 2 = 5, because you have a confusion, or because you thought you saw something, or your father, who's a math magician, told you that 2 + 2 = 5, and you trusted him.
He studies quantum physics, Bill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's other things like your feelings and your emotions and your own belief system that has stopped you. Because it says false data is incorrect ideas, information, laws, and definitions.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you keep talking about, I'm an educator. Well, how hard is it for somebody to just not understand a word?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, there's more than one meaning.
So let's just pick on Naomi for a minute, okay?
That's her turn.
So watch this. So give me the definition of the.
It's a preposition, no?
Okay.
No.
Spent an article? What is the again?
There you
And
go.
I'm doing this half drunk and half asleep. Bill, this is not fair.
What is the definition of a?
That's an article.
Okay.
But the definition is I don't know. Let me Google it.
So
I got
this is the point and it's not to pick on you. It's just so you don't know what the means, and you don't know what a means. They're very simple words.
They're extremely simple.
They're so simple it's hard to explain a little bit. And I've had some of my students tell me that a teacher in school said there is no definition for the.
Right.
There is no.
So what does it mean?
Well, the is a definite article. It means you're asking for something specific. Give me the glass.
Right.
Is an indefinite article. It's used to point out that you want a glass, one of them, some whatever. Give me a pen. Which one? A pen. Give me a pen. The means specific. Means whatever. Give
Non-specific.
me one.
Yeah.
Non-specific.
It focuses in on yeah.
So,
I get that.
Yeah. And
Other
most-
languages also have similarities to that. Like a glass of water versus the glass of water.
Yeah.
A few podcasts ago, we did the same thing. We had you draw a picture, right? Remember,
Yeah.
you were drawing a picture and you were going along and you were producing, and then you hit a misunderstood word because Peter gave you a word that you'd never heard of before.
That's right. And he
And
said,
you
draw a
stop-
picture of it.
Yeah, and you stopped drawing.
And I think I drew a picture of a big monster.
Yeah.
yeah, you did something.
Still have the
Well,
pad
if you don't have the right answer,
Yeah.
you will dub in an answer. You
Right.
have to have an answer.
Right.
Right? Yeah, there we
There's
go.
the answer.
Like- Like
the monster.
my ex-wife believes that you can just read a sentence and figure out what the word means by the context of the sentence.
I
Well,
think
people are-
sometimes yes, but not
I
all
wouldn't
the
trust my
time.
brain surgeon or my mechanic to do that. I want them to know exactly what they're doing.
Well, that's because he's operating on your brain. Has he done that recently?
Do you think I need a tune-up? Yeah.
She's saying that you might have a recall. That was good, Naomi.
But people are told that in school. They're taught, just guess from context. Why would you have people guessing when you're learning something? Why guess?
So here we have a society that doesn't even know there's such a thing as a misunderstood word,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They don't even know it,
Yeah.
right? And then they go to school or they go to college and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then they can't apply it because they have too many misunderstood words,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Holes in
Like
their
to
knowledge.
me, if you're going to have, that's right, holes in the knowledge.
So how does this apply to real estate?
So you asked, we're talking about false data.
Right.
So how do you get false data?
Through misunderstood words.
And it creates confusion and lack of application.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody goes to buy a course or does something, right? And it doesn't work
Right.
because they have confusions or foggy areas.
Or maybe even misunderstood concepts. Because I'm thinking words like in real estate terminology, real estate
Could
lingo.
be simple words like the and
Right.
It's a misunderstood
Well,
word is a misunderstood word.
Read
It
a
doesn't have to
contract.
be.
Read a
Yeah,
contract.
read a
Therein
contract.
for unto it's just in excess. It's just all these little things of
And especially if there's
Unto-
a typo. I was going over a contract yesterday,
yeah.
Yeah.
and it was talking about land title and Surrey. And I'm like, Surrey? What's that? So I'm like Googling on my
no.
phone, and I'm like looking everywhere, real estate definition of Surrey. I should know
Survey.
this. And then I'm like, typo.
It was survey.
So just
Survey.
because we're on the topic, and I don't want to elaborate on this, but why don't you give some of the manifestations of a misunderstood word, Mr.
sure.
Educator?
Yes, sure. Well, everyone's experienced these, but don't realize the cause is when you're reading, it's something you're not understanding, whether it's a symbol or a word.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that'll happen is you'll just lose focus, and you'll stop. I mean, you
Start
get to the
daydreaming.
you get to the bottom of the page, and your mind had already wandered because you didn't understand what you're doing, so it wandered. You'll be looking out the window. You'll be doodling,
Thinking about lunch.
yawning. You'll get tired. You'll fall asleep. I was at Yale in Central, a couple colleges in my area. I'm going through the study like rooms where students can study, and they're asleep. It's the middle of the day, and they're tired. No, they're not tired. Now I'll be teaching a student and like a little kid, and I go for the first page of a book, and I'll look over, and his eyes are half closed, and I'll ask him, "What didn't you understand?" "Oh, I understand everything." Never mind. I just do the whole page because he's a kid, and he won't. So, and 5 minutes later, he's wide awake. So this isn't, I think it's the way because I say so. I see it 1,000 times. And then, but the problem is when you try to use what it says, you can't do it right because you don't know what it meant. You'll do it wrong or not do it at all because you don't know what to do. So when somebody does something wrong, the first thing is, did you understand what it said? Oh, sure I did. Oh, no, you didn't. And one of the things you do at meetups and in your courses, you define words. What does this mean? What does that mean? Because people assume because they're hanging around that you know. And one of my jobs is, Bill, I don't know what that is either. So if I don't know, maybe the audience doesn't. So explain that. But you're really good at catching them beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's a lot of problems there just because of a word.
Because when I'm in front of the audience, I see that they're nodding off and they're having trouble opening their eye. They're yawning, right? Falling asleep is a big indicator or of a misunderstood word. It's so bizarre, but that is true.
Can I just one absolutely true story? And this is 30 years ago at one of these real estate meetings I went to. It was once a month. So the guy had to tell us when the next meeting was and where, if it was a different venue. So, 10 minutes in, he goes, oh, by the way, next month's meeting is date, time, location.
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes later, somebody raised their hand. When's the next meeting? Okay, time, date, location, right? 5 minutes, 10, 15 minutes later, another person. 4 times in this thing, people ask what time the next meeting was. And I'm looking around at 40, 50 people in the room, and their eyes are half closed. They're nodding off because they don't know what he was talking about. And he was getting pissed.
Yeah.
Aren't you people listening to me? And I'm sitting there with my real estate dictionary that I gave you. That's why I bought it, because I was the only one staying awake. Because I'd be like, what the hell's an option? Foreclosure? Yeah, I'll be looking them up, and everyone else 4 times, and he got mad.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the point here is, we're on topic, but we're not on topic. So the point here is that if you get to the bottom of a page and you don't know what you just read, there's something you didn't understand. So look it up in a dictionary. Go back and find it, which, by the way, it's there. Just go back and find it.
And it's you might think, but the word of has 17 meanings, so he might just be something different than you're used to.
And I
might
think
mean
if you can
something
get
else.
a dictionary that's for real estate investors, because different words are different from the dictionary to the real estate dictionary.
Like a specialized
like
subject.
option, for example.
That's a specialized definition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you have to go to a specialized dictionary to get it.
exactly.
Which, by the way, we have a whole industry in our society that handles people's misunderstood words.
No kidding.
It's called an attorney. That's why attorneys make it so well, because usually attorneys are a good index of the English language. They may not realize it, but they have a good index of the English language. So when they go into the court, and the court is very literal with the English language,
With the words, yeah.
they can convert that to the guy that doesn't understand.
Yeah.
And that's why attorneys make so much money, is because they understand words.
Yeah, when we present a contract to somebody or make an offer, well, can I show this to my attorney?
Yeah.
Why? Because they can't understand it, and they hope he does. It's just that.
Right.
I mean, you might have a higher IQ than your attorney. It's not that. He understands, you don't. But read it.
That's his specialty.
So now you have a vast, very big industry with a lot of false data in it, right? Either by the people teaching it or by the people learning it.
Or
right?
both.
Or both.
Yeah.
And so we have this entire huge, big, black abyss of a culture and a topic and an industry that I don't care who you talk to will tell you it's confusing.
That it is, Bill. That it is.
So when you get started, where do you start? So the last thing I want to say is my belief is that, not getting off on a tangent on school systems, but how many years of school did you go through?
12.
12 years. How about you, Peter?
15.
Actually, I take that back.
I'm talking formal school and not
Hard
courses.
knocks.
Yeah, not
Fort
like
Knox.
seminars.
Not
and
Fort
all that
Knox.
stuff.
It's not necessarily hard knocks. It's just continued education, so you don't have the hard knocks.
Yes, dear.
Okay. So I went through 12 years of school. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Did your teacher tell you to study?
Yes.
Okay. Did they teach you how to study?
How to study? I learned that on my own, which I have it down to a fine-tuned science, if you'd
Right.
like to hear.
No.
Okay.
Because what you're going to tell me is how to memorize.
Nope. Although that was the first thing that I thought it was.
Because that's what the school system does, is they say,
Yes.
read this material, take this test, which is a memorization. So it's like, read this material, take this test.
Right.
If I'm going to teach somebody how to fix a car, I think his test should be, here's my broken car, make it work.
Fix it. Yeah.
know what else happens that's really bad? The tests are very bad because they don't focus on the important issues. They'll ask any question to see if you read the material. Any random anything. Not the important points, not how you do things. If this happens, what do you do? No, the real issues. So that makes a person think that studying is hard because they have to remember everything.
Mm-hmm.
So in real estate, one of the things you're doing is taking it from, let's not learn everything. Let's learn what you need to know to start, and then
Exactly.
continue, and then add to it.
It's
And
the difference between an amateur and a professional. An amateur will try and figure out everything,
Yeah.
and a professional kind of just can shoot
Focuses
through
on
it.
the results.
Exactly.
That's how you helped me. I mean, over a couple of years ago, blah blah blah, on a phone call. 2 weeks later, we're in the house looking at a house. You were surprised. 'Cause I
Right.
followed instructions.
Right.
I didn't know what else to do. I might as well follow instructions.
Right. It's the same thing. Like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I took over a law office with absolutely no legal experience. And by the way, at the end, I tripled the profits. But how I did that is obviously I had a huge Swiss cheese. I mean, like, there wasn't even any cheese. It was just a great big gaping, nothing.
It's a hole.
Right. And so I moved forward, and then I came to that, first speed bump. And then I would ask not one opinion, but many opinions with every single thing. And then, so the same thing in real estate. You hit that speed bump, that hole in the Swiss cheese. Don't try and figure everything out. Just focus on that one issue and be results oriented, like Bill said.
I can't pass this up.
So
I just have to do this. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one.
yes. However, when the opinions were from attorneys, you had to or research it from several different sources. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I can give you at least a multiple amount of dozens, like a multiple amount of 12s
Yeah.
of attorneys' names and attorneys that have been spoken to about real estate, and their opinions
You have a very good point there.
blow my deals up.
Yep. You have.
They have no idea what they're talking about, and they think they're elite in society,
Yes, they do.
and they think who they are.
So
They
yeah.
think they're better than everybody else. They don't even know why they're an attorney. They don't know the reason why they're an attorney is because they are better at words than most
Yeah.
others.
Or
They
they
don't
just
even
had to
know
pick
that.
something to go to school for. Yeah.
Or they memorize
Right.
things better than others.
So the right person for the right context, Bill. In the law office, it was attorneys. When you're an investor, it's, I would think, investors. No?
Okay, so
That
let me
you
ask
need
you
to
this
talk to.
question. If
Who
that's
do
the
people
case.
turn to?
Okay, so if that's the
I
case.
follow you,
let-
Naomi. You're on the right
Let me
track.
ask you this question. When I go to the closing, how come my check is the biggest?
Because you run the show.
So if the now my attorney closes a lot of deals for me. He
Yeah.
talks to me sometimes on a daily basis about real estate.
Yeah.
Often will call me about other cases.
Wow.
So how come he doesn't do what I do? And he'll say to me almost probably 7 out of 10 closings, I got to learn how to do what you do. I got to make more money.
Right.
It'd be nice to get one of those checks like you did. Because I know him, he can do that. Most attorneys wouldn't do that.
Right.
So how can I ask him for an opinion? This is exactly what I'm talking about.
But like I said, he wouldn't be the right thing, the right person for the right problem. So in the law office, attorneys were what I needed to speak to. Now in real estate investing, my ideas is connecting with other real estate investors.
Okay.
Unless you have a better,
What I'm
who
Well,
do
you
people?
can't-
What I'm
well-
trying to say
well,
is, who
you-
do people
that
turn
doesn't
to
work
when they run
either.
across a problem?
That doesn't work either because so you want to connect with other real estate investors. Let's say you're getting started because that's what the show is about, right? You're getting started.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you no matter where you go and who you talk to, you're going to run into this one word. It's called AREA, Real Estate Investment Association. And you're going to go there. The one in Connecticut attracts about 100 people a month in their meeting. So there you go. Go there. You're going to go.
There you go.
You're going to go talk to real estate investors.
Investors.
So what are you going to get out of it? You're going to get false data and opinions from real estate investors.
So who do people go to?
So if you want to get $1 million, who do you talk to?
The millionaire.
There you go.
Boy, wasn't that beautiful?
There you go.
Yeah. See,
You're
I think
going to talk to a guy that has $1 million.
Right. So when you're asking for their help, ask them.
well, you know what the
what's-
difference
what's in
is?
your-
There's opinions and there's facts.
Yeah.
Opinions are opinions. I want facts. Like I call Bill because I knew for a fact that he had done multiple real estate deals, and I wouldn't be getting opinions from him. I'd be getting what he did factually to
Right.
get there.
So
So
would
I don't
you-
want opinions. I
so
want
would you say-
how do you do it?
Or-
Facts.
Right.
I'm
Or I
done.
apologize. I think I just interrupted you like 3 times.
You tried.
It was
I did
fun.
try.
It was fun to watch.
I finished. But,
But I
you
think-
see,
I
that's
think-
my difference.
Power through.
I think the best
So-
thing about it was when you actually told him before, as he had brain surgery, we're not letting that one go.
Oh,
no, it's called
man.
2 drinks.
It's called, yeah.
No,
it's
a
called
drink
that.
and a half.
I'm probably.
I think it's funny
I'm
as
probably
shit
the one
because
who-
I said to Naomi, I said, you realize that I can count on one hand how many times I drink in a year.
Yep.
And I don't. And she says, one hand or 2 hands? I said, I don't even use all the fingers on one hand on how many times I drink. I've known Peter probably 20 years, and I don't think we've ever been in a bar together. I don't think I've ever seen him drink.
Nope.
I don't think I've
Wow.
ever seen him drink.
It happens.
That's the first time. I maybe at a party and I didn't notice it, but
Our
it's
parties don't have booze.
yeah. I was gonna say
Should
I don't
we
think
put
I've
this
ever
photo
seen
on
him
the-
drink.
Yeah.
And we were in a bar last night.
We were in a bar and
Well,
we were
Celebrate your
drinking.
birthday.
And
We've
I
been-
was
we've been,
done, and it was still coming.
We've been watching you on Facebook. We noticed that you go out in bars and hang out. So we figured we would do
What's
it
this?
too.
What's this wee shit?
You don't see her on Facebook? I'm in New York. I'm in New Haven with my friends. You don't see those posts?
He's a Facebook. Now she's going to take you off your Facebook.
I'm your Facebook
lead.
friend. I see you hanging out.
But not in bars.
It was drinking and people and parties and stuff. You're
I don't know
having
what
a
he's
good
talking
time.
Where?
I don't know. It's weddings. It's parties. You're doing something
Okay,
fun.
weddings. Yeah.
Yeah, girls. There's people. There's boys. There's things. So
Anyways,
figured
we
we'd
had a
do the
good
same.
time.
We had a real good time.
Stop. So go ahead. You interrupted him 3 times.
Yeah. So
Your
what I
turn.
was gonna say, back to this millionaires thing, I'm gonna throw another little ratchet in here.
That's her job.
Is
So let's
So-
take the word ratchet. What does that mean?
let's not talk
Because
about
as
that
an
right
auto
now.
mechanic, that means I'm going to like take apart the engine right now.
I'm gonna take apart the engine.
Okay, good.
Because there's a lot of amazing millionaires that you should definitely listen to.
Yeah.
However, in my legal running a law office experience, there were several times I had to visit clients in jail, and these were elite jails of blue collar criminals, and there were a lot of millionaires in there.
Yep.
And billionaires. Some very, very wealthy people.
Wow. In jail.
Now, these were a small
That's how they
percentage.
got their money.
Now,
Yeah.
these are a small
The wrong
percentage.
way.
Right. These are a small percentage of the millionaires and billionaires. I think that
Yeah.
truly to be a millionaire and billionaire, you are doing things the right way, and that is why you're making your money. But there are some people that kind of cut corners and things like that, and they get there. So I'm just saying that because just because they're a millionaire or billionaire,
So point taken.
okay.
Point taken is that you
Honest
should
millionaires.
no. Point
Nope.
taken is that the only real education you're going to get, and you said it earlier, is your
Mhm.
own experience.
Yeah.
So when you talk to a millionaire, the point in talking to them is to guide you
Mm-hmm.
and help you like notice the pitfalls.
Yeah.
Or help you with successful points. Like, for example, I shout from the rooftops. I mean, I did it last night, and
Yeah.
it amazes me. It's like, write this down. I'm telling you, I've done thousands of offers, and this sentence will make you millions of
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah.
And about 5 people picked their pen up.
Yeah.
The sentence, by the way, is, oh my God, what would have to happen for me to, let me,
It actually wasn't that sentence. It was a different one.
Well, you ask like, how much you're asking for your house.
it was the
Yeah.
first sentence of
Yeah.
the
And
for
then,
sale
like,
by owner script.
So if I paid you X, would you sell me your house today?
All right.
Yes, it was that one.
But there's
So
several.
if I pay you
No, there's several.
$165, would you sell me your house today? That's what it was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but and again, it's not because I'm smart or I just observed this that I noticed
Right.
because I'm a result-oriented guy. I'd sit in houses and I wouldn't buy them, and I would dwell on, oh, why didn't I buy that house? So after a while, I would start testing words, and after a while, I realized a majority of the people would respond positively to that sentence.
Mm.
Not everybody, but a majority of them would.
Mhm.
So I just started using it because that's what I do.
So there's a way you can take what you just said about observation and use it as a student when someone teaches you something or tells you something or you read something and you're looking at it and think, was that right? You have to look at it yourself and say, have I observed this to be the case?
Right.
If not, go look. Let me
Right.
go see.
Right.
Does this happen? If I do that, will that work? You have to test it yourself. And that's when your own experience comes in.
Right.
But you can't learn everything by yourself. You'll die stupid. So You take the data from somebody like you or anybody that's a millionaire, and have I seen it? Is this true? Because I've seen it, not because he says so. Or go look and see if it's there. If you see it, you see it.
So much truth has come from this that there's actually a TV show about it.
Is it called To Tell the Truth?
No.
What?
It's called Undercover Boss.
Ah.
The owner thinks he's got this organization, and he actually goes to, like, Subway was one of them I watched, and he actually goes as an employee and observes what's really happening in his stores.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's the truth right there of observation.
Yeah.
Because that executive will then go back and he gives away, prizes. I don't know why they do that, but they give away.
Well, he feels bad. He feels guilty.
That's the TV version of it. But the point, the attention part of it to get people to watch.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that executive goes back every time and restructures his business.
Yeah.
And does things in his business because he finds shitheads and he finds the superstars that nobody even know that they're there.
Yeah.
And that's the power of observation right there. So, is there a straight path? I mean, I tell you, watch my stuff, do my stuff. But I'd like to think, and of course I'm on this side of the table, I'm not doing I try to do the undercover boss as much as I can. And that's your job is to, like, make sure that the new guys are getting stuff that I'm not, like, doing funky ass shit that nobody even cares about, right? I think what makes me different, and I would love support tickets on this if you think this is not true, but just the fact that we have over 700,000 listeners to our podcast. We have people that buy houses just from the podcast. The amount of information that I give away for free, because I just tell you what to do. Now, if you need to know how to do it, then you'll have to pay me. But to just tell you what to do is what most people in my shoes don't do. My wife, I'll tell you, I can't tell you how many conversations with my wife. You give away too much stuff for free. You shouldn't tell people. You shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. And at the end of every conversation, which sometimes turns into the argument, it ends up like this. How many listeners do you have on your podcast? How many coaching clients do you have? How many houses have you flipped? And she shuts up. Because that's what, if somebody puts a gun to my head or my back to the wall, I have ethics presence because of my statistics.
Yep. Altitude.
I have that too because of my statistics. And I don't even want it. It just happens. I don't even want that. It's not something I thrive for. Mm-hmm. You know me. I mean, when it comes to that, I feel I'm very humble with that. I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
You have an image of being bold and confident, and you are, but that's just to get people to listen. Other than that, you're really nice, very helpful,
right.
Very polite, and you can't be cute about this stuff. You have to be
Real.
big and real, and like you were being very assertive last night, and still people just stare.
They didn't impinge.
They stare. And I sat with one guy and I said, I went over like, what do you want to do? And here's how you can do it. And it only costs a couple of bucks. It's very little. There's nothing cheaper than this in the world. So if you're going to do it, why not this? And I can't because, like, okay, I give up.
So just for example, so thank you for the kind words, by the way. So just for example, and then we're going to get out of here. So the online course right now is $497. And I'm going to tell you that if I found this online course when I first started, I would pay $5,000 for it. I paid $5,000 for a seminar. My first seminar was $5,000 without travel expenses. It cost me $7,000 my first seminar.
A quick start type thing?
Yeah, it was with Ron LeGrand,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I paid $5,000 and $2,000 for travel expense. What I give you in this course is more for $500 is more than what I got in that seminar. The reason why is because I hold your hand virtually and I walk you through every step by all the forms, the scripts, everything.
Wow.
Okay. So last night I offer the course is $500 right now. You go to flippinghousesforrookies.com and you'll find it. How to buy real estate without a loan.
Mm-hmm.
So I offered on Saturday, this Saturday, the 21st, at 128 Center Street in Wallingford, Connecticut, for $297. They get all day in a conference room. This is not a seminar where I'm up front talking on a stage. This is about 10 people, or maybe a little bit more at this point, maybe 15 people in a conference room, in a boardroom conference room. And I'm going to take you step by step on a computer, on your computer. I'm going to have you call people. We're going to find leads for you. Those people are going to leave with a deal if they choose so.
Yeah.
So for $297, we're going to have all day. We're going to have 8 hours with me holding your hand, like personally, right? I give them for free the course for $500. So they leave there. Not only do they get their hands held, but anything I might have missed or picked up, they can go back and get it from the course because it's all in the course. They get all my forms. There's one form in that course that's worth $6,000, and they're getting it in that course.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's
Then we just developed this new thing, which is the quick start checklist that I went over last night. That you guys helped me with, and all of you, Jesse and Emma, we've all had a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm going to start selling for $97. That will get you a house bought. It's not all of the details, but it is definitely going to get you leads and find houses. It's going to get you. It's going to get you in the house and get a deal. You'll need help at that point, but then you can go to the $500 course.
Mm-hmm.
I gave all of that away. So there's $500 for the course. Was over $3,000 worth of stuff. No, wait a minute, that's not right. Was $500 for the course. $600. It was $97 for the checklist, and then the whole day seminar.
Yeah, like $600.
So it was
At least $600.
And yeah. Well, I gave away. That's another story. But yeah, I gave away coaching and courses and last night. And what did they do? I mean, we had a few people sign up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I talked to the guy, that one guy, the guy you were talking about. Am I
Mm-hmm.
going to be there? Oh, no, I have other obligations.
Hmm.
And I just want to look at him and I want to say, well, what did you come here for then? Obviously, so what is this like? Is this like playtime for you?
Mm.
Is this like, are we on the swing sets? Are we playing in the sandbox now?
Mm-hmm.
I thought the most interesting part was there was a woman who won a free ticket to go. And she said, no, I have other things that I need to do.
Right.
She didn't even have to pay for it. And she said, no, I don't want it.
Right. So that's my rant.
Yeah.
And I know you're frustrated with it because for the last week you're talking to the people on the phone. So, from this side of the table, right? When we say, have you got these symptoms of nerve exhaustion from real estate investing? It's hard to take that serious because we are, and I know I am. It's money out of my pocket. Last night cost me several $100s to be there out of my own checkbook to help these people
Mm-hmm.
become millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's so much false data in the world, when they see truth or see something that can help them, they don't know it's real.
yeah. Wow.
They don't know it's real. And I'm totally being pompous right now. I am as real as you get. I mean, Peter, you've seen it now. Naomi's been around. If somebody comes to me and their story, I help them.
Mm-hmm.
If I can. I mean, lately I've been turning away more than I have.
Well, they have to help themselves too. It's got to be a two-way
I give
thing,
them a test.
And
if they do a few things like Peter is a prime example of that.
yeah.
I mean, Peter said to me, I said to him, "What can you do for me?" And it wasn't even because he said a split the deal. It wasn't even about the money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes it's about the money, but it's not always about the money.
Right.
You have to want to help yourself first, and you have to realize Peter, months and months and months and months ago, talked about. It's such a great analogy. He talks about going to work and not getting paid on Friday, and then going back to work and then not getting paid, and then going back to work and not getting paid, and do that for like 6 months,
Right.
and then get paid. And how many people have that stamina? How many people are that stubborn that they're willing to wait for their paycheck? They're going to get paid.
Yeah.
It's like money in the bank.
Yeah.
You know, you get a check for 30 grand and it takes you 6 months to do it. I mean, that means if you did that twice a year, you make 60 grand. Most
Right.
people live off of that.
And then you start getting good at it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But here's the thing. Anything and everything that I talk about, and you and I talked, because we were talking about this last week because one of your Facebook posts, right?
yes.
So it seems like my stories are long and I'm verbose, but it's because when you ask me a question, I want you to tell you my experience. I'm verifying with you that what I'm talking about is correct. I just don't want you to just listen to me. I want you to understand that I'm giving you this information because here's my story. If my story is similar to your story, then my information will be valuable to you.
Right.
Because I truly believe that when I meet somebody and I walk away, I want to leave them with something better than what they had when I walked in. And I try to do that in
You
almost
do that all the
every
time.
conversation.
All the time.
I believe that if you and I talk now, I'm not short-winded. I understand that, and I'm okay with that. But I'm willing to give more than what I get. And I've always been that way. So it's important when you're in these frustrating positions of how do I get a real estate education, first of all, you have to do things and getting on the phone and talk. I mean, Saturday morning we are going to get on the phone and we're going to call people and we're going to make appointments for those people in that room. There will be somebody in that room that will buy a house. And who does that in Connecticut? You go to the Connecticut RIA, you're not getting that.
Nope.
They'll sell you classes. You'll go every week and they'll march in. And the reason why is because people don't do stuff. So other people make money off of that.
So true.
And I guess I'm on a rant at this point, but you have to understand this side of the table to know why people sell $1,000, $2,000 courses. I said last night at a meetup, how many times have I said this? I had people that teach people like me how to do it. And I've been told multiple times, if you don't charge somebody $15,000 or $20,000 for coaching or for help, they will not do well. You got the wrong people.
They won't take it seriously.
They won't take it seriously. They won't be dedicated. Right. And sometimes days like today, I think they're correct. So, anyways, rant over. So, have you ever said, I can't seem to get started in real estate investing, or learn one way to do real estate investing only to find out there are 5 other ways to make money simpler? Possibly you did one deal and said, I got it, and then can't seem to do another. Maybe you have spent thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours trying to learn and have not gotten a return on your effort, only to realize you are almost as confused as when you started. Did we cover that today? Do you guys feel we did?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, sir. I feel completely confused now.
So, obviously, if you go to flippinghouses4rookies.com and go to /buy without a loan, you'll find the course that we've been talking about today. There are other things on there, including podcasts. At this point, we're up to podcast number 92 today. 3? Yeah, 93.
3.
So there's a lot of free information there. We have which we're going to go over to now, we have a private Facebook group, which is, if you go to Facebook and you type in Flipping Houses for Rookies, if you look on the left side, there's links there and you can find how to get to the private Facebook group. In that private Facebook group, we are going to go over there now, and we're going to help people that have questions, either finding deals or deal structuring or whatever. We do it every week, and there's a bunch of videos in there. So I think that's like $67 a month or something like that. So there are a lot of ways that you can get our information and qualify it. See if it works for you. Don't listen to me. Go test it. Go check it out. Don't believe what I'm telling you. Go check it out, because it will work, and that's what my goal is. So with that said, we're over and out. Thanks for being with us today.
Over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.